Just in time.
Just in time. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the VR Link. How are you all? Look at that handsome fellow in the bottom corner. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 5 of the VR Link. This is your weekly Wednesday live podcast on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook at 8 PM GMT, 3 PM EST, and 12 PM PST. On the show, we discuss the latest news, games, and goings-on within the virtuality community. My name is GT from Gamertag VR, and alongside me each and every week is my co-host, Matt from BMF. How you doing, Matt?
I am excellent. Lots of interesting things going on.
There is lots and lots of interesting things going on. This week, we are kindly joined by VR content creator, sadly, it's Bradley, who makes amazing worlds in Half Life Alyx using the mods and has done some pretty cool shit in the VR esports scene. How are you, dude?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Look at his background. Look at his background. Look how crap mine is in comparison. It's like some fucking weird coloured room, and he's got like a nice steam bath. And
this is actually a live feed from VR chat. I just took one of the worlds and set it as my background.
It looks awesome, but that is a real camera, I take it, thing at the back, isn't it? In the green there. Is that a real camera?
Oh yeah, hold
stand?
on.
So we can walk. Oh my god. Crazy. Where are we? Yeah, for those of you who enjoy the show and want to listen again, you can listen again on Spotify, Apple, and Anchor. All you have to do is search the VR Link podcast, or you can use the links in the description. If you enjoy the show and want to support the channel, you can join these legendary patrons and growing list of amazing YouTube channel members whose names are immortalized below each and every episode. We also have a fantastic Discord with over 1,100 members, and inside there you will find a live VR news feed, and you can arrange multiplayer meetups. And to be fair, I think a lot of games are a lot better with multiplayer. So, how is everyone in the chat? Let's have a look. I can see Matt's talking about his weight loss, which is pretty cool. What have you guys been playing as well? Let us know, because I'm interested to see what you've been playing this week, what everyone is playing recently. So who watched GT Play Morning Live? I did. Maxim, yeah, I played. I went back into PSVR today because basically 6 new games have been announced, and it was the headset that got me into VR, and it was actually really cool. Admittedly, when I first got in there, I was like, "Damn, this is blurrier than I remember." No shit, I was like, but it's kind of funny how you can just get used to this stuff, you know. And yeah, sure enough, in like 20 minutes of being in there, I kind of forgot about that and just really enjoyed it and appreciated the actual graphical power the PlayStation actually has over the Quest, because the shadows, the animations, all that stuff was there, you know, the characters, and it's just the whole world looked a bit more believable if blurrier. So that was really cool. Matt, what have you been playing this week, dude?
Not a whole lot. I've been playing around with the new website. I'm still adjusting. It's been taking a lot of my time and messing around with some of the games on App Lab due to that. So that's pretty much what I've been doing this week.
So what's the when you're on about the Quest App Lab website that you've made? I was kind of hoping in my mind, because I don't know anything about this stuff, that somehow it would be like an RSS feed or something, and it can update in that way. But obviously, then you choose to go into your Quest and record some footage, and then you upload it to your website yourself.
Yeah. And I'm hoping to be able to, I reached out to Oculus, to one of the contacts at Oculus today, because I'd like to see if there's some sort of feed that they have or could create that every time an app gets added to App Lab, it automatically adds to the site, because I have to manually go in every time. Well, I don't currently. The new site I'm going to have to. Currently, I'm using the what SideQuest is using, and I can just use that on my website. But I'm putting everything into WordPress now because I don't like the system that I have. So now I'm gonna have to go in and add one every single time. So I'm hoping there's some sort of a RSS feed or something I can get from them. So every time a new game releases, I can just have it auto-populate instead of having to go in and create a new category every time or a new item every time, which kind of be a pain. Although at the rate that they're doing it, it wouldn't really be that big of a deal.
What did you mean? What, the amount of games coming to App Lab?
Yeah, so it's such a trickle that it wouldn't really take much to keep up with it. But if it ever increases, it could take a lot more time.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but I actually think App Lab is getting more popular quicker than I expected it to. Like, you got that initial like, wow, App Lab, and all the developers trying to get on it, which is absolutely amazing. But as someone who is a Quest owner, there isn't really a lack of content out there.
Yeah.
There's no lack of content, and I think App Lab just adds to that. So yeah, Brady, what have you been doing, dude? What have you been playing?
Recently, I after a long time, I started replaying Skyrim VR. I like added 300 mods to it to actually make it a
300.
good VR game. Yeah, like 300. No exaggeration. And it's been freaking crazy. Like I said, few years ago when Skyrim VR came out, it was good, but over time it's shown its age of like what works in VR and what's not. So if you play it now without mods, it's honestly a garbage VR implementation. But like, just like everything else made by Bethesda, the community pretty much does all the work for them and
Yeah.
makes the game like really good.
Yeah. So you're talking about, I'm assuming, the Higgs mod.
I mean, yeah, that's just one. There's
That's
actually
just
like
one.
20 that just touch on VR mechanics. Also, Haptics works with it too, and that actually is one of the best
Shit.
implementations I've ever tried actually for
Man.
a game.
I love Skyrim. I'm gonna need to get a list of mods from you because I really want to try it out.
I followed, dude. There's this like 30-page Google Doc I can send you that literally tells you how to do all those mods, man. It's freaking crazy.
That's amazing. Like, I literally picked up Skyrim 2 weeks ago. It must have been in a Steam sale. It was like £11, and I've only ever played it on PSVR. And the reason I bought it was because of the Higgs. I saw the Higgs, and I'm like, dude. And basically, wait, the Higgs. I hope I describe it right. It's basically like having Half Life Alyx abilities. The gloves.
Yeah, it's just like that. In fact, it's better because you have melee weapons in that game. You can throw them like Jedi style from like what's that one? Blade and sorcery style. It's freaking amazing.
Oh man, that sounds absolutely fantastic. I'm so gonna get into that. And so, what are the other mods that you would say stand out the most for you?
I mean, it's just I like adding the full body because originally you don't see your full body, you don't look down, you see legs.
Yeah.
There's just I mean, like even though I say 300, a lot of them are just small tweaks and they're all just different mods but those small tweaks they just add up into like one giant thing. And then there's of course like graphical mods and stuff that really just make the game look a lot more recent. It's just crazy.
Yeah, see, I
If
thought
you
we
can get that going.
Go on,
Huh?
sorry, Matt. Go on, Matt.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if you can get that going well, I mean, you could pretty much have an unlimited amount of time you could spend in a VR game because there's so much stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to bring me up to your next thing, Bradley, that you do with Half Life Alyx and the mods. So, just explain what it is, what you do, and because when you play something like that, and your one is the Mines, isn't it? Mine Breaker, is it? Is it Mine?
It was Mindbreaker and
Mindbreaker.
Crash Course. Yep.
To me, that would take simply hours and hours and hours and hours. And does it take hours and hours and hours? Oh.
Yeah. It
All
does.
Right. Okay.
Like I think my first map probably took God, I did not sleep for 2 weeks. It was like 2 weeks constant work, my first map. That was also me learning how the engine works and how all the tools to make the stuff works as well. But it is a lot of work, and that's why I haven't really done anything since last year because it's like you had to be in like a brainwashed mindset to get yourself to like sit down and make content like that for really like only pretty much your own satisfaction. So
yeah, just keep that focus, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing, isn't it? Keeping your eye on the ball, staying on that, and because he's really hard. I think one of the hardest things, and this is going to sound like a real dad thing, but it's very hard to stay focused on anything these days because there's so many fucking distractions going on. Like if I'm editing a video, I can lose an hour just looking at Twitter and something else, and then it leads to something else, and I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? And it's horrible. And then you're already sort of pressed for time, and it's an absolute nightmare, man. So that's cool though. It sounds like you've been playing lots of different things. Let's have a look in the chat. What have you guys been playing? Maxim has been playing Vader Immortal. Nice. Let's have a look. What else have we got? I don't know if you've seen any names in there, Matt. What people have been playing. Bit Victim says Higgs VR is amazing with Skyrim. Nice.
Yeah, somebody said, Adam says Guardians is very fun. I've seen a few people say that they bought Guardians because of your video.
Do you know what? Right, I got in that game and I thought, it looks good. The guns look good. The game's pretty cool. I only played it on my own. But then when you go on multiplayer, and fuckers are like jetpacking around and shit. It is really funny, and I was like, actually, this game is really, really cool, and everyone saw that. Everyone saw the fun that was happening, and and that goes a long way. If a game's pretty decent and it's fun with others, you're onto pretty much a winner. So that's cool. Artful, even in GT, I hate getting VR cover emails for stock in the US. Grr. When he says that, I'm assuming he means that there is none. Is that what he's saying? I'm assuming that's what he means. Nice. Excellent. Another non-bearded guest. Who did we have who didn't have a beard last week? And he can't mean Kaz. From Kaz and Cherry. Like, neither of them can have a beard. Like, I don't
It's
think.
been pretty consistent. I mean, the last few have been bearded.
I should have asked Bradley to put a beard on. I didn't think ahead. I was just like, oh man. Jimbus, looking great, BMF. Loving the latest videos.
Thank you.
Nice. What else we got here? Oh, PD is the chat. How you doing, man? Nice. So yeah, let's talk about your. So the other thing is, I mean, you put all that time into those mods for Half Life Alyx, and it obviously paid off because they were like in the top 10, I believe. Because I want to be one of those lazy people who would just go into Half Life and go, what are the most played levels? And then I played Mindbreaker, and I think that's maybe why I DM'd you or added you on Twitter to say, like, I recognise this guy, I know his name. And I was like, these were amazing, and I'm going to tell him that I think they're amazing. And I think that's how I just suddenly started interacting with you in some way. What was the inspiration behind those levels, and what was the thing, you know?
Well, like I said, I started with Crash Course. I was not really planning to make it into a level. A group of people put together some like early, not even official Half-Life Alyx tools, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome. I want to check out all the crap I can do with Half-Life Alyx that literally just came out like a week ago at the time. So I just started messing with it, and I kind of like streamed myself doing silly stuff. Like I said, I was not prepared to do anything. But the more like stuff I started to create out as a joke, and I started putting on my headset and seeing my small, tiny joke creations, the more I wanted to do something bigger. So literally, I'm like, all right, that's it. I am going to. I've been commenting on what I like and don't like in VR in terms of software for years now, like a few years now. What if instead of just complaining and talking about it, I make what I think actually is good and see if I'm right or not, basically.
Yeah.
So Crash Course was like a bunch of concepts that I thought always worked in VR, such as sense of scale and elevation. And as time went on, I finally finished it. A lot of people started to agree. I was like, awesome. People agree with me. People like this. What am I going to do now? All these people are wanting me to make more crap. All right, well, I did something open. Let's do something more like horrific, because, people's favorite like section of Half-Life Alyx is usually the Jeff section, which is like kind of puts you in a closed environment and kind of expects the player to just kind of power through it with their own courage.
For people who haven't experienced Half-Life Alyx, that is probably one of the most memorable moments, especially the first time you play it. That, like, going in that like fridge or freezer room with all them bottles and stuff, and first of all I was thinking, what the hell am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing here, until you figure out, like, it's not really a puzzle once you know it. It's like, oh yeah, obviously. But Jeff himself is fantastic, and yeah. Sorry, man. Yeah.
No, you're fine. Like, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that, and I also want another concept I didn't touch on Crash Course, and I tried to do in Mindbreak was I wanted the player to be able to interact with the environment to kill enemies without just using their guns. What I eventually learned over time is what you expect the player to do is nowhere near the actual reality of what players will do. And
spoken like a dev.
Yes, I learned that like from Mindbreak Part 1. Dude, literally anyone that posted a video of Mindbreak Part 1 on YouTube, I watched it. Like any of them, even the one with 2 views, watched it
to gauge feedback, to gauge what they're doing, like an experiment, I guess. Sounds like an experiment.
It literally was them being my free play testers without them knowing it. And then I made Mind Break Part 2, which was like, okay, I want this to be environmental damage. I want players to literally see, I want them to do this so they can have an amazing reaction just from the world seeming more alive and actually like something happening, interactions. And thankfully, that ended out working great. So basically, as soon as I touched on all these little subjects or ideas I had for Half Life Alyx, I was like, I feel okay with that. I don't really want to make anything else now. So.
He's done his weird social experiments on people and walks away.
Yeah.
Oh,
at least until Sandbox comes out, because then I'll probably get right back into it. Because that will be.
I think it's so good. And it's quite funny, that sentence you said, I've heard developers say to me so many times, because they would give me a game as a first impression or something, and I'd play it. And they'd be like, dude, we never expected anyone to do that. Or, dude, no, actually, it's more, no one's done that before. That's what they say. Yeah. No one's ever done that before. And I think, yeah, but then you've probably only got 5 people playing it. I don't know. And do they play lots of other games? Have they only been playing your one game for that long and probably play that same section so many times that they're not going in there full of wonder and wondering what else they could do? So, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. And yeah, we have got some news today. Really look forward to jumping into that. But the other thing I wanted to talk to you, Bradley, is about your VR esports. Because I've had a little taste of VR esports. Thanks to Onward. I played with Viper, Lonely Viper. I'm sure you know who Lonely Viper is.
Yeah. He's an amazing player. He
is, man. And he's a top character as well. Top guy. And yeah, so I played with him, MRTV, and Lady Nikki, and yeah, we won the tournament, and it was really cool.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we won it, and it was a creator one though, a content creator one. It wasn't like I've seen the serious players, and if I bump into one of them in any game, I go from like being I'm quite lucky. I'm not saying I'm really good at games, but I'm one of those people I can pick up most games and do okay. And as soon as someone comes in who's not relying on luck, they're actually relying on rehearsed talent, I get my fucking ass whipped to shit. And like Hyperdash the other week was a perfect example of that, man. Like I'm top of the board, and I've got other people saying I'm amazing, and then these guys come in and I am Mr. Amateur. I am nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah. So let's talk about your esports scenario, what happened, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was an invite only tournament. Cass and Cherry, which you guys were mentioning earlier, they were part of the tournament. And some other people. Another person to talk about
was it Reality Check?
Content creators. Reality Check was there, yes.
Yep.
I also wanted to mention Durble, who is not really a content creator, but he does a lot of like esports for VR, and he's very good at any game he picks up. So it was a mixed bag of like some people like really just good, right? But yeah, it was so fun, dude. It was such a fun tournament to be a part of. Very competitive, and just being able to fly to China, or not me pay to fly, but they pay everyone to come to China.
Yeah, man.
That part was awesome. Pay for like this super fancy hotel, free like fancy breakfast. Like
wow, man.
It was. I know we're supposed to be talking about the esports, but man,
no,
my brain
talk
is
about
on
that shit.
that
I love that
right
shit.
Now, you know?
I love stuff like that, man. I want the whole shebang. It sounds absolutely fantastic.
But I remember when I got the email, it was the middle of the night because, you know, they're on the other side of the world. And I'm up during the night, or I just woke up and I just like kind of glanced at the email. And I'm like, VR esport tournament in China. First, I'm like, is this a scam? First of all,
yeah.
And second of all, I'm like, wait, 10,000, dude. I've always wanted to do esports. Maybe this is my time. So I literally spent like months practicing at the game, which is Final Assault. If you've never played it, anyone in the chat, it's still one of my favorite games.
Just to plug the game, I've met the developers and I've interviewed the developers of Final Assault. It is a very good game, and the reason actually it wasn't about Final Assault was the reason I interviewed them. Is because I found out they were some of the developers for like Turok on the N64 in South Park, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like a fan. Boy, do you know what I mean? Of old school retro. So I'm like, yeah, get them on. I want to talk to them. So yeah, go on. Sorry.
Oh yeah. It was I play a lot of Dota 2, which is like a MOBA, and the game Final Assault has a lot of very similar concepts. So that alone already made me like want to play the game more and get very serious at winning the tournament. I'm like, hey, this is the kind of game I already play all the time when I'm not in VR. And there's a VR version of basically a game I love playing, and I just spent hours, nights. After the preliminary, like there's a theme. Whenever I do something, I tend to not sleep much. So I remember just spending like literally 2 hours a night sleeping, and then just waking up and being like, you gotta practice, Brad. You gotta practice. You're going to China in like a couple weeks. You gotta practice. And yeah, later on, I started. I won, and that was awesome. And now people always ask me about it, which is awesome because I get to relive that memory all the time. It's great.
It's fantastic, man. Like to win, like I don't know. It's like whenever you're doing anything in sports or anything, there's always that bit at the end when you're getting close to not doing it, and it could just turn, and you could just lose. You know what I mean? Like you're on the final stretch or something, and you're like, I can't believe this is going to happen. When it happens, that's an amazing feeling, and yeah, that's fantastic. What did you spend the 10 grand on as well?
I paid off my car.
That's good enough though, dude. That means
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's good. That's good. Oh man, that is fantastic. So that is a little insight into this week's guest. Sadly, it's Bradley. Pretty cool. I love it when we have people from the community like this. How you doing, everyone in the chat? Thank you for joining us today. I hope you had a really good week. Well, I know it's only middle of the week, but I hope your week's going well, and I hope it continues to do so. So I'm just gonna run my new my VR news intro. 1 second. Hell yeah! I'm on that thing all the time. So this week, let's start with the goings on with HTC. Around a week ago, they tweeted out a picture with their own logo saying "Your Move." Now, how did you guys feel about the "Your Move" bit? Because, well, go on, tell me. What did you think? Because when I saw that, I just thought, shouldn't it be your move, not our move? Because it feels like we're all doing stuff, or other people are doing stuff, and you haven't done anything. And I was really confused by that. Just
Looking back on it now, it makes sense as a tease for the trackers.
This is the point. This is the point, right? So when they tweeted that out, it basically led to the VR community hysteria that a brand new standalone headset, which can compete with the Quest, called the HTC Move, I think it was, within like a few days or less than a few days. Then they put out another tweet saying, "What will you do with 70% more energy?" I started going through the comments of that, and people were mixing up energy with power and assuming that it was 70% more powerful than the Quest. And you can see already the connections here. It's all about the Quest. It's all about something to do with HTC and the Quest. So that all happened.
Didn't help too that Oculus commented on that original post with a chess move, a very aggressive chess move, and then they commented back with another chess move, almost as if to tease that they were going against Oculus.
Yeah. Like all this stuff was happening on social media. So in the meantime, though, as well, which kind of made things a little bit easier or better, was Alvin Wang, the president of HTC, went on a podcast and said some things regarding that there is indeed a new next generation HMD coming this year. It won't be a competitor to the Quest, which I don't know about that bit. But it will probably be better than what's out there from any vendor today. So what happened recently of HTC, Bradley? What did they reveal? What did they reveal, dude? And did it light a fire under your ass? Did you go, shit, this is the best thing ever?
No. No, actually, the more I think about it, and I thought about it after the announcement because I try not to give in to the demons in my brain telling me that everything they do is terrible.
Yeah.
And what I've come to the conclusion is people will buy these products. A lot of people will actually buy these products they announce. These new trackers are actually something that HTC will sell a lot of, because if HTC knows how to do anything, is to sell accessories for products that other people, other headsets are buying. So the fact that it isn't an HMD right now, probably, is actually a good thing, right? like HM, like there is, I don't know how, I don't think have you guys done any full body stuff yet?
No, never.
No, okay. I'm glad I can be the representative that will probably mess a few things up and spread some opinions incorrectly. Full body tracking is amazing. Anyone that's gotten into it mostly probably plays social apps like VR Chat or Neos VR. And when you get into it, you don't just like dabble into it, right? You drink the whole canister of Kool-Aid, man. You go full on. You buy the little tracker straps for your old generation Vive pucks, and you just want to stay in it for hours. People sleep in VR with full body tracking. And the fact that just alone the trackers are smaller and they have a lot more battery life, like a considerable amount than the old ones, people will buy them, even though they are $30 more.
Yeah.
I bring up the price because that is a very, very stingent thing. Because at the same time, when HTC announces this product, the end of the month, there is a Kickstarter project that has been gaining a lot of steam among this community that's sleep in VR, called the Tundra Trackers, which were basically advertising themselves to be a affordable Vive tracker replacement. And I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Well, they've actually stated that it will work with the HTC equipment, and it's just going to be.
Yes, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was actually some posts announcing apparently the prices to that, and it is $95 each, which is $5 less than the old tracker. But because HTC released a new tracker at $130 each, and will probably discontinue their old trackers if I know anything about HTC from what I watched in the past 5 years of doing VR, then actually HTC's decision to make this lighter weight, smaller tracker at a much more expensive price actually makes the Tundra tracker a lot more affordable. Just today's a weird day. As far as the facial tracking thing go, maybe we'll talk about that after. But yeah, Vive tracker, it will probably sell because the market for this stuff is not enterprise anymore. It's I mean, people enterprise are buying it, but literally every time I see an announcement where it's facial tracking or just full body tracking, I'm imagining a bunch of anime girls in VR chat just dancing, because that's literally who are buying these things.
Anime cat people.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, they are strangely attractive. So all right, so then you got the lip tracking, as people call it, lip tracking. I seem to remember like something to do with Oculus where they basically had outside in trackers or cameras inside the headset filming people's faces. Surely that is better than having a mod hanging off a headset, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, the only reason that they have the modification right now is because they just don't sell a headset that has it built in currently.
How much is the mod?
It's $130, just like the each of the trackers as well.
So let's just take this all. So you're saying that body tracking literally changes the VR game altogether. Your immersion in there changes it.
After finger tracking, I think when companies figure out how to make full body tracking as affordable as finger tracking has become in the past year or so, I think it'll be the next step for people. Like I really think it's very immersive. I remember when finger tracking came out and Valve was experimenting with finger tracking, the VR community was like, "What? We don't need that. Make some games. Just make some games, man." And as soon as the Knuckles came out, and then of course Oculus Quest started getting some titles with the controllerless finger tracking, everyone's like, "Ew, this game doesn't have finger tracking? Ew, this is terrible. Why don't you have finger tracking?"
Yeah.
I think it'll be like that for full body tracking one day. Not anytime soon because it's so gosh darn expensive, but yeah, I do think
that's the thing, isn't it?
A very huge thing.
Like when people talk about haptics, and I know if it's another thing as well, if you haven't tried it, you don't know what you're missing kind of thing. Same as when I first ever tried the N64 Rumble Pack. I didn't know what I was missing until I got my hands on it. It is expensive, but at the same time, I kind of feel you're investing in the future. Like, it might be expensive now, but then in 10 years' time, it's going to not be, and it's going to be more affordable, probably easier integration, less than, like, you might not, I don't know what it's going to be, but like, you're talking about body tracking and stuff. You're saying your sense of presence is just amplified, obviously.
I actually, when I first got full body tracking, I said that this is actually more important to VR than finger tracking. I remember that's the first thing I thought of.
Why? What's it doing? I haven't tried it, so yeah, I'm on the outside going.
Okay, I saw people in chat saying that finger tracking is a cosmetic thing, and while that's kind of true with a lot of games, games like Half Life Alyx kind of prove the sort of intuitiveness of having finger tracking, where instead of pressing a trigger to grab something or grip to grab something, using your fingers to grip and hold something is a lot more valuable than just, like I said, pressing a button.
Yeah.
When it comes to full body tracking, though, I would argue that's actually even more cosmetic than finger tracking is, because there's even games that have finger tracking, or I'm sorry, full body tracking. There's not much. There's not much mechanics really using them very often, unless Blade and Sorcery, for example, where you can kick people. But yeah, the sense of presence is insane. You really do feel like you're in the world that much more when you control every limb instead of just your head and hands.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I can say. It's one of those things. It's kind of like the VR's original problem when it started becoming consumer was VR YouTubers back in like 2016 when the Vive came out, the original Oculus Rift consumer came out. Everyone was saying, all the VR YouTubers were saying, this is huge. I can't explain why it's huge with words. You have to try it.
Yeah.
And like you were saying with the be haptic, it is just like that. It really is big. It's a big thing.
That'd be crazy.
People that don't know, how many, like, what kind of cost is it to get into something like this? How many of these pucks do you actually need to be able to really get into full body track?
It only works with the base stations as well. You have to have the base station. So you need the two base stations at least. Is it? Well, I think you can run off one, can't you, or not? I don't know.
You can use one, but you won't have the full. It gets a little rough with one. Yeah. But you can theoretically. I made a video about that in 2016, actually. But yeah, it's best to have two. Otherwise, you can just buy a Kinect actually and do full body tracking with the Microsoft Kinect.
I was gonna say that was the only when we started talking about it. The Kinect was the only thing I remember. It was fascinating, but there was. In my mind, there always felt like there was a little bit of a delay between what was being done and what was happening slightly. And I think at the time, like, Kinect was huge, wasn't it? Wasn't it the fastest selling commercial bit of tech or something like that? I don't know. I just remember being at game shows and it was wowing the shit out of people. And then they just never done any games for it. It was like, I don't know, a couple of like local like games made by Microsoft. I think it was. There was Connected Ventures. Something else. There was like a Star Wars one.
Yeah, I still remember seeing the trailer for that Star Wars one, and I was so excited to get to play that, and then it was really
it was terrible.
Nothing.
It was terrible.
No, yeah, and now people use the Kinect to do full body tracking. And it's like it's similar to having one lighthouse actually, because you have 180 degrees it can track you, but it actually does very well. So that's actually a great introduction for people that want to try full body tracking when they don't want to pay all that much money. Is getting a used Kinect off eBay and doing it that way. It's actually very close, but obviously once you turn around, you're going to start having some issues, especially if you have some occlusion stuff or whatever. But
yeah,
you need, but normally you would need generally 3 lighthouses, or 2 lighthouses, 3 trackers.
3. I thought you'd need 4. Or not?
No, 3. Just 1 for the waist and 2 for feet or legs, whatever you want to put them.
Okay.
And
yeah, because your hands are already tracked, aren't they? So yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Donut. Yeah. So the waist thing obviously helps you gyrate in the clubs. That's what you're talking about. You're in there with the cat people, and you're like, watch me move.
And it gives also a point of reference for how your body should bend. Like if you're let's say your head's being tracked and your waist is being tracked, if you only move your head, then your waist knows to stay where it is and makes your IK actually correlate correctly in VR.
Have you done the worm?
No.
You haven't done the worm? I thought that'd be the
No.
first thing that most people want to do. Like,
There's a lot of things I want to do, but until they make a wireless kit for my index, yeah.
so what HDs do you own, dude?
I own.
We can't see
currently I own. Yeah, I currently own an Index, a Quest 2. I used to own a Cosmos. I used to own a Oculus Rift consumer, and I own a Vive. So.
And I think by looking at your channel, your Vive is your Index is your go-to. That's your daily driver.
Yeah. I pretty much only touch my Index.
Is that because of FOV is so important to you?
Honestly,
it's a conversation that comes up because people
Yeah.
want to talk about what happens next. What's next? And you've got little bits of next all over the place. You've got the G2 with the high resolution. You've got the Index with
what?
the,
I think it's just a mixture of. It's kind of like with the Skyrim thing, where I say a bunch of small things put together make a big difference. It's kind of like that with the Index, like the audio quality, the mic quality, the FOV, a bunch of small things. Whereas 2 years ago, if you asked me this question, I would be like, FOV, bam, just the biggest thing. But these days, the Index is 2 years old, and for me, it's kind of showing that a little bit in terms of like when people ask me if they should buy an Index now. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. It's just everything. I don't have to buy a bunch of accessories to make the thing comfortable and do well. That's basically how. And the tracking. It's just like a bunch of small things all put together make the best experience for me. Like it's like you're talking about when you went back to PSVR after using the Quest 2. You didn't notice that things were so blurry before you used the Quest 2. It's kind of like that, where it's like the Quest 2 has really good resolution and everything, but when I put it on after using my Index all the time, I just noticed very small things that kind of put me out of it,
Yeah. I'd expect that though. Like the Index is, I would say, a premium product. Like
it's a premium product that needs to be refreshed at the price it's currently at.
Have you had any issues with the knuckles? Because that's the one thing throughout the life of the Index that is kind of. I've used an Index only once. I used it twice for about an hour. When I went to Gamescom, and the FOV was stunning. Like that, it was a real. I actually was pissed off at myself for using it because once I used it, I then went and used a Vive Pro, and it was like like the toilet roll holder things, the cardboard. I was like, "Where's the fucking rest of the image gone?" It was like looking at binoculars backwards or something. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Absolutely.
And eventually, I got used to it, and I got over it. But yeah, initially, I was devastated that it was that much of a difference. So yeah, I've always wanted one, but the cost was too much.
No, I like I said, people ask me all the time that they should buy an Index now, and I'm like, I love my Index because I bought it when it came out. It was the newest of the new, but we are literally like coming up on its 2-year anniversary.
Wow,
and
bloody hell.
I really want it to either go down in price or have a refresh to at least the headset itself.
Yeah.
As far as the controllers go, I still love the controllers. They're my favorite controllers, even though they break
So they have
a
broke
lot.
for you? Have they broke for you?
Yeah, I broke a couple. Before I had the Index, I actually was one of the few. I say few. I had the prototype ones, which were the EV3s and DVs before the Index came out. Those like there were some signs back then that Knuckles or whatever manufacturer that Valve was using, which is like their own company, they were breaking for everyone. I went through like maybe 5 controllers back then.
Wow.
And each iteration they kept trying to make them less breakable. And there was finally to a point where they're like, okay, I think we did it. I think the Index controllers, when we release the consumer version with all the iterations,
Yeah.
I don't think it'll break.
Yeah.
It still breaks.
That's the crazy thing. Like, I think if you was going to recommend today for me personally, if I was going to recommend a VR headset, it would be the Quest 2 to anyone who isn't in VR. Do you know what I mean? If they're new to VR and they come along and they went, what would you recommend I buy? It'd be the Quest 2. And there's just, because it does so many things right. That's dependent on the Facebook. Well, you're standing on Facebook, obviously.
Yeah.
If you're happy with the Facebook thing, like you're talking about that. I think the touch controllers, the battery life is insane. The durability of them is insane. I've smacked them so hard, and they're just completely fine. And then you got obviously the resolution. I mean, battery life bothers some people. It hasn't really bothered me too much. You're still having to buy though comfort accessories, which is a real shame. But yeah, so I mean, what would you recommend to people? Like, I mean, obviously, if you're a creator, people say to you, they come across a video, don't they, and they see you playing a game, and they're like, "Dude, I want to get into VR. What am I going to buy?" What's your answer?
So I have a Word document saved for whenever people ask me this question, like on Discord or something, because it's like 3 paragraphs long. Yeah, I basically say if you don't care about Facebook, buy a Quest 2. But if you do care, I would just wait. But it's like 3 paragraphs of why that you should wait right now. So
that's fair enough, man. That's fair enough, and that's going to lead us into the HTC thing, because as we said, Alvin Wang, the president of HTC, said that there is a new headset coming. And like we said before the podcast went live, we were saying about, or I was anyway, that out of all this like bullshit and hype and whatever else, it's clear that people want something to compete with the Quest. And I think that's just mainly down to the Facebook thing. And it makes me wonder what would happen if Oculus would have just been at the helm, or they would have been owned by Oculus and never tried to put their name all over it and the login stuff. That's the day it changed, isn't it, Matt? When they said you have to sign in with your Facebook account. That was the day when it all changed.
Sorry, was that directed to me?
Yeah, sorry, man. That's all right.
No, sorry, I got distracted reading comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And the problem is that it changed in the way people perceived it, but you see how many people bought the Quest 2 and are okay with the Facebook thing, so there's no reason for them to go backwards on it now.
Yeah, what about you, Bradley? How do you stand on that stuff?
I knew it was going to happen one day, and it still pisses me off. I was in the group of people. You go back to the Oculus subreddit way back when Facebook first purchased Oculus. Everyone in that thread was screaming, "One day you're going to need a Facebook account now." And all your I was one of those people that believed that. And I keep saying for years, Oculus products, yeah, they don't require a Facebook product now, but I don't have any evidence, but I kind of feel like it. And then it finally happened, and I was like, I'm a terrible person. Let me just say that. I was smug the day they announced it. I was like, you know what? I told people for years, and a lot of people did care about it. But these days, most people don't care about it. Whether they should or not is a huge debate that I don't really want to rant about right now, because you won't be able to stop me. But for me, it's a terrible thing. It's yeah.
I'll tell you, when that happened, I was devastated. I was, because I didn't want any downsides to VR, and I knew Facebook, as much as they've done amazing things for virtuality, their name is tarnished outside of virtuality, and they brought that name into VR. And I was like, you already had a name though. You were Oculus by Facebook. Why just keep with the Oculus, man? You're doing fine, And then that Facebook thing happened, and yeah, it was it was unlucky, because I think as YouTubers, or whatever you want to call yourself, you're kind of in the middle of it there, and people want to ask your opinion, and then people also want to vent their anger. They're angry, and they want a platform, and they want someone to understand why they're angry and what's going on. And it made me angry, because I was like, fuck, I don't need this. I was getting voicemails on Instagram from people saying they now can't use their Quests, and I'm like, from today I'm not using my Quest anymore. And and I don't say that stuff to people, but that's how serious things can be. And when you talk about social media and security and stuff, there's been hacks for Sony in the past. I remember that a very long time ago, that I think everyone's accounts or something got leaked, or millions of accounts got leaked and things like this happen. It's just but yeah. When we talk about HTC and a new standalone, which is what it sounds like, because I can't see them doing just a PCVR headset. I think everyone knows now that standalone is the thing that sells, and especially when it goes into PCVR.
I think that he actually confirmed that it was a standalone headset. I can't remember.
No,
but
I can't remember.
When it comes to the rest of all of that we were just talking about, I think the only thing that really could change the direction, because as of right now they've sold so many Quest 2s, unfortunately, which I mean it's good for VR in one hand but bad for in another way, because people that are buying them are okay with the Facebook login, obviously, so it's kind of cementing the fact that they don't need to worry about it. The only thing that could change that potentially in the future is if we actually get a really good competitor for the Quest 2, and Oculus starts to see a shift where they're not just not getting as many sales, but they're losing some of their clientele because they're jumping ship to go to a different product that doesn't require that. That would be about the only thing I can see. And even then, I'm not 100% sure that they would take out the login requirement or legislation. That would be the only two things at this point that would remove that. And I'm not really sure how either one of those would go or how long it would take, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't know. Just for the record, I don't actually care about the Facebook thing. Personally, I've got a Facebook account and it didn't bother me at all. It was just a downer, and I knew it was a downer. And unless you're
me, I have a Facebook account, so that part didn't bother me. The part that bothered me was the requirement that if you don't have a Facebook account, in order to use this, you actually have to go create one. And it didn't help matters when so many people were getting their accounts locked and banned when they created new ones to be able to start their Oculus. They're going to turn on their Quest 2 for Christmas, and they're getting banned because they started a Facebook account. When their brand new Facebook account gets locked, that didn't help either. But yeah, I don't use Facebook really, aside for some family stuff, and then I used it to log into my Oculus account now. Aside from that, it did, for me personally, didn't bother me, but what did bother me was the requirement, because it alienated so many people that actually cared about it.
Yeah.
This VR device, I think it's worse that it's a VR device than a mobile phone is my issue.
That's interesting.
It is. VR
That's really interesting
because very personal. More than
if you look through the comments, it is all about everything you do in with the VR device. With the Quest, is no different to any other device. So it's really interesting that you're saying what you're saying.
I mean, you are literally Oculus Connect 6. I was there and I was watching the keynote where they were showing all their technology of how they were learning that with their with just the tracking cameras on their devices they were using, they're able to map out entire environments and even save metadata. That was that the metadata part's part of the last Connect they had, the Facebook Connect. Facebook Connect.
Yeah, Facebook Connect. Yeah.
And they're able to just use their cameras to literally see everything inside your room. They can use the microphones to record anything. They're adding the Hey Facebook feature, which I want to make a video joking about that.
I don't know what this is. I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's just vocally. It's like Alexa.
Oh,
you say, God, "Hey, Facebook." Do you remember
when that happened? Bloody hell! Everyone was going crazy, weren't they? Like, they're gonna hear everything that's happening in my house and all this stuff. And yeah, so that's gonna be the same thing again. It's an activation vocal. Yeah.
Yeah, theoretically. But and when I always talk about this thing, people are like, well, other companies do it. And I think to myself, wow, that's kind of depressing. That's the amount of that's all we can say is, well, other companies do it, so it must be okay. But Google recently even announced they're going to stop doing tracking for ads and stuff, and especially recently, Apple in their newest their OSs, they've been kind of exposing what Facebook keeps track of on people's phones, and it's an insane amount of data already. Yeah. And I just think Facebook has not shown that they can use your data responsibly. And you are putting a device that's able to map out entire rooms, save metadata for each object inside of your room, and make money off of that. as well as making money from their content store and everything else that's happening. I just I don't like it, and that's okay not to like it. People that there's just people that just like different things.
I
Okay.
think it's okay not to like it, but you can't ever deny what they're doing for VR. Like they literally,
Well,
that's the
there's
thing, man.
always people that are passionate about a technology and they just want to build for a technology, and those people are great. But there's also the other people in the company that are trying to do the dark side of things, and I there's different people at companies. Companies are not just like one thing where it's like, oh hey, I want to do something great, and the other like, and that makes up for all the bad things that happen. I don't really believe that personally.
Yeah,
So
man. And each to their own. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's good to. I mean, me and Matt have spoken about it. We both thought it was a bit of a negative thing happening with Facebook. We also think that, and Matt doesn't mind me saying that no one's doing for VR what they are doing, and it's very hard. It's very hard to. I think what they're doing is incredible. They're making it affordable, and the trick of VR is, or the all important thing of VR is getting people in the headset. It just doesn't work. You can't really sell it that well without the headset. You know what I mean? They see you as a content creator or us playing games, having fun, but they see a flat image and they see you sort of moving around in that image and going like, they can only sort of guess what it's like. I still remember guessing what VR was like. And it was kind of like in my mind a bit of a 3D movie or something. I don't know what it, and then I got in there, and it was so much more. And that's what the Quest is doing. So, HTC standalone. That's why I think everyone's so excited about it, because they want to believe in some way that if that comes out, even if it's more expensive, say for example, it's a Quest 2 on paper. Yeah, it's just a Quest 2 on paper, nothing extra, but it's got a different name on it, and it's not associated with Facebook.
Yeah.
How do you
I
think that's going
there's
to be?
huge benefits there.
Yeah, but then what about the games? Like, where are the games going to? Like Oculus is buying studios and they're releasing lots of Oculus Studio stuff.
Oh no, I think it's gonna fail. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's great that this will happen theoretically, but no. To be honest, I do think HTC, it's gonna be very hard, and they've been restructuring their company so many times, more than I can count on my fingers the past few years.
The Cosmos. What the hell?
That I mean, oh, man, God, I mean, I could talk about this stuff for hours. I'm a terrible guest, man. I just go on
Right.
tangents. But anyway, but will it succeed? You know, HTC hasn't proved themselves to make good VR HMD hardware in the past couple years, so that's a huge hurdle they already had to get over. They've ruined the trust of me and other content creators as well, so that's going to make a even giant hurdle. Whereas Oculus has pretty much had a very, very healthy relationship with content creators. And like you said, the content is a hard hurdle to leap over as well. That being said, if they use similar hardware like the Snapdragon XR platform, it's not too difficult for people that are already developing for Quest to kind of port their games over. Especially when OpenXR is becoming a very big thing very fast. Even Steam VR supports OpenXR. That makes another hurdle a lot faster. So whether HTC or not themselves are going to make a good product pretty much decides not on them, but all on the other stuff that's happening around them. Yeah. However, what we just saw with their new trackers announcement, the things happening around them was a bunch of random people were about to kickstart a cheaper device, which was not that much cheaper than their current tracker. But by raising their price of their tracker $30, that kind of makes that other, I don't know, HTC feels like they can like kick themselves in the foot or do well, because there is a market for people that might want either, let's say it's like people want a Quest Pro, for example, Quest 2 Pro. They want a higher experience, and HTC being HTC, they love using the word enterprise. Maybe they can say, "Hey, we're building an enterprise headset." Wink, wink, prosumer. And just end up doing that. And if it can connect to the PC, people will be like, "Oh, crud, dude, standalone, higher resolution or whatever crap they have with it. I'll buy that. It doesn't have Facebook. I'll definitely buy. Like there is a market for it, but it's not like I trust HTC will do it correctly. To be honest,
That's the thing.
That's what it comes
Facebook and Oculus are doing it so bloody well. They're doing amazing
Oh yeah,
work.
absolutely.
Like that store, Oculus store is fantastic. And I know someone's mentioned Viveport as well. Viveport is very good. I used it for a little while. I've got it all the time. I'm quite lucky in what I do that developers give me some keys and stuff. But if I didn't have that, I would definitely be a Viveport subscriber. 'Cause as I pointed out the other week, like Hyperdash, brand new game, and it's going to be big. I think it's going to be a really great game for competitive players, free or on Viveport subscription. So straight away that's on there straight away. And Doomslide, thank you ever so much for the donation. And yeah, we've got a non-bearded boy band member today, so pretty cool. What about the gaming? What do you see about VR gaming at the moment? Because some people have opinions on. We're going back to those shorter games now, shorter experiences and stuff. When I think some people was hoping the VR would get away. I know not everyone wants Skyrim. I've never completed Skyrim. I've played it for hours and hours and hours, never completed it, or even got anywhere in it that I would respectably tell someone about it. But I've definitely been in there for a long time. A lot of games recently are, and I don't know if Matt's going to agree with me, 2-3 hours. Would you say average on games recently?
Yeah, that's. I mean, if not shorter in a lot of instances.
Right. Yeah. What do you think about that sort of thing? And games coming out in bits as well, like part 1s, part 2s. What do you think about that? If you thought about it at all, you might not have.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it. I don't really think the length of a game matters too much. I mean, when the consumer Vive came out, I felt like, I mean, those were all tech demos, and people were paying $10 to $20 for them.
Yeah,
less than 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
So for me, coming into this, I'm like, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours. That's freaking awesome.
That's weird, and I think I had that issue as well, because even on PSVR, obviously you've got the big, massive standout games with IPs and stuff, but there was like some games that were not necessarily long-term games, but it was just in VR, so it didn't matter. It was amazing. It's in VR. And
yeah.
that was enough.
I mean, I think with VR, like I said, length of the game doesn't matter. It's more the just mechanics they throw at you and how intuitive they are. I think that's what really sells VR things.
What is the most intuitive game you've played in VR?
I mean, everyone says Alyx and Boneworks.
They do say Bone. I mean, I was hoping you'd get to that, because I want to know which one you do think is more.
What I like more?
Yeah.
Or I like Half Life Alyx more when it comes to how. So Boneworks, I recently went back to it after I like coming back to games after I get that newness factor off. Like my mind's refreshed. I'm not so hyped about it because it just came out. And when I came back to Boneworks, I was frustrated. Like, I kept getting myself stuck in doors and stuff, and I'm like, having a body that I can't really control except for the legs with a joystick and hands and a head kind of sucks in a lot of ways. But like the actual physical interactions of hitting things and melee and all that stuff, that's great. But the overall package, I like Alyx more than what the overall package in Boneworks is, and I'm just talking about, like I said, the physics and all that stuff.
Yeah. What about you, Matt? What's your preference of games?
Two of those?
Yeah.
Definitely Alyx. I mean, I enjoy playing around in Boneworks with the physics and all that stuff, but it's definitely, as Brad said, it can be frustrating getting stuck in puzzles or trying to do one thing and it just isn't working properly. I love the idea, and the mechanics behind it are fun to mess around with, especially like sandbox stuff, specifically that. But yeah, for me, Alyx hit the nail on the head in between the two of them, especially with interactions, the way the game functioned and played overall.
I've had 2 really amazing moments in both those games, or more, but they've both given me amazing moments, and that's the problem. Like, I think the music in Boneworks is fantastic. I think the sound is fantastic. I think when you play the whole game through, it sort of like gets in my mind when I play it. A bit more than Half Life Alyx, funny enough. And I don't know. It just does. It just gets me more. But yeah, Half Life Alyx is an absolutely fantastic game.
For me, some reason for me between the two of them, I liked Boneworks, but it always felt like I was playing a VR game. Like the interactions with the body were so disconnected from my actual body that I knew I was playing a game. Whereas with Alex, I was able to lose myself in the character and experience the story.
Yes. Yeah. No worries. I've just got to deal with something on Facebook quickly. I do apologise.
Nope, no problem.
There you go. No
What
worries.
does everybody else think in the chat? I don't know if anybody else out there has any opinions on what they like better out of the two.
I like the idea. I mean, one of the best things that happened so far this year is PSVR 2 being kind of definitely happening. That is fantastic for gamers and the VR. It's going to be huge, and I think them waiting in the background is great because what you're going to get is, I think with Oculus, you're going to go down a mobile phone route of every year or every 18 months buying something new's coming out, and you're getting all these different versions and updates and stuff. But with PSVR, when you buy that headset, you're going to have 5 years at least, I reckon, of just enjoying the platform, and hopefully it doesn't age. I mean, the PSVR did well. Do you know what I mean? Like 3 years, I never really had much of an issue with it for 2.5, 3 years.
I think the biggest issue is the controllers aged much quicker because they're already old. That's really what did it.
The moves were old when PSVR was like, as I said to you before, I picked them up for £5 each out of like a second-hand shop, and I knew like when I used the PSVR before it came out that the PSVR was going to be a big deal. So I came back from London and I went straight to the shop and I was like, I want 2 of these for £5. I should have bought all of them. There was like a bloody bucket full of them, and I should have bought them all.
You would have been rich, dude. Those things are worth more than gold at one point.
They're really hard. They're still quite hard to get hold of, apparently. And yeah, so, but yeah, I do think that PSVR is going to really do some great and crazy things for virtual reality. And you've been a fan of PSVR, Bradley? You played it and stuff. Have you used it?
Yeah, I actually had it for like a month at one point. It was all right. I bought it when it first came out, and I got a few. That was coming out. I was playing that after I was so used to PCVR.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah. So it was a little rough for me at first, but I still appreciate it, and I appreciate all the content that came out for it.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing what they were able to do with, because we're talking about how old the Move hardware was, but the PS4 was already a few years old at that point too.
Yeah, for
and sure. Getting the even though they they did like the reprojecting the frames or everything to get the 90 hertz, like I didn't have issues with the frame rate and anything. It was just more the more of the optical stuff that bothered me a little bit. But
GT, I'll be right back.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I
think it's the same for a lot of people who were in PC before PSVR. You know what I mean? I can't remember who it was I was speaking to, but I was playing a game sitting down, and they were like, "Do you sit down in VR?" I went, "Yeah, some games I do sit down in VR." And they're like, "I've never sat down in VR." And I'm like, "Oh." Do you know? And this is when I was just doing pure PSVR stuff. And yeah, like today I jumped into Farpoint and used the aim controller. Dude, that thing is amazing. And I don't know why we haven't got anything like that in PC. I was just like, it's just so good. It feels so good. Dual sticks and everything and haptics, and it's pretty cool. It's really good to jump back in.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh, we've got Doom 3 coming. They've got some brand new games coming out for PSVR. And I think they're trying to just like keep things going, because a lot of people are thinking PSVR 2 is going to be the end of 2022. And in my mind, I think it's going to be the beginning of 2022. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know like I do think it'll be a great system that like right out of the box, like you were talking about. I mean, the PS5 will be like only a year or a year and a half maybe old, and it's got a lot of processing power. It can do a lot more for VR than the old system can, and all the patents with like the finger track controllers and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be awesome if it's a console with finger track controllers, fully finger tracked. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. So let's move on to a little. Where the hell is that thing? What is it called? There we go. Zero Caliber. Yeah, so developer Xreal shared a short gameplay clip of Zero Caliber, now renamed Zero Caliber, running on the Quest 1. It shows the customizable gun system setup, and it's all running obviously on the standalone headset, allowing players to add attachments to the weapon on the fly. At the end, there's a tease of one of the campaign missions with the player fighting their way through a warehouse. While the game features similar levels to the original game with PSVR headsets, it's also been reworked to fit on the Quest platform. That means no cross-play with PC, but Quest owners will have their own 4-player co-op mode to tackle. Zero Caliber Reloaded is due for release on Quest Online in the second quarter of 2021, and the developers of Xreal are still working on the PSVR port of the game, and also plans to add PvP content to the PCVR version. Dude, that sounds like they're working in all different directions. Yeah, and also they're working on a brand new 4-player co-op shooter called Gambit. So that's crazy. That's oh, is that? Sorry guys, sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't realise there was audio with that clip. My bad. Was it far too loud? Sorry. I don't know if you heard any of that. But yeah, basically it just sounds like they're working on a lot of stuff all at once. You're looking at this video. It's running on the Quest 1. The gunplay looks really cool. The fact he like flips the clip out and puts it back in, because we're not missing many shooters at the moment. There's a lot of first-person shooters that if you didn't put a title on it, it could be Pavlov, it could be Onward, it could be, you know. So a lot of people are like, which one do I buy? What are the contractors? And then you've got obviously Zero Caliber coming out. But I think this game, watching this little video, offers something new. It looks pretty cool. We're talking campaigns, and mentioning going through the warehouse level. Where are we? And yeah, they were saying, sorry if anyone missed it, they were saying it's being reworked for the Quest platform. It's called Zero Caliber Reloaded, and it's going to be its own. It's going to have its own 4-player co-op mode, which is pretty cool. I don't think I've heard of a story-based 4-player co-op. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to remember if there's been any 4-player co-ops. I know you got horde mode for 4 players, but I'm not sure of any 4-player like single-player games. Because I've played. Bradley, you played Zero Caliber. I take it on PC.
Yeah, I have. It's pretty cool. But if you ask a lot of people are very mixed on their reaction to that game. Some people love it. Some people think it's the worst shooter on the PC for some reason. But yeah, I think it does what it's trying to do very well. And yeah,
I had a fantastic time on it actually when I played it. It was like it kind of reminded me. It was the closest thing to like a Call of Duty game that I'd played actually, because there's one sort of level where you go through like a town, and they're sort of invading, and I was like, actually, this game is pretty sweet. I think it came off a little bit cheap when I played it. It was the first time I ever played it. They've done so many updates since, and yeah, like the characters felt a bit hollow and a bit like they didn't have any weight and things. All these little things seem to have changed. But yeah, the fact is not, there's no crossplay with PC. I normally would be gutted about it, but from what I've seen, the Quest is bringing so many players in. I don't think anyone's going to not find people to play with. It's not going to be an issue. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of, it's very active. The Quest multiplayer scene is very active, and whenever they launch a game like Onward, for example, you see these lobbies fill up, like pages and pages of people are online pretty much all the time. And they're also working on a PSVR port of the game, which is really cool, and they plan to add PvP content to the PC VR version, which I think they did a beta for. By memory, I'm pretty sure I read that they were doing a beta for it. So yeah, that is I just said about contractors. That is Zero Caliber coming, and I thought this video looked pretty cool actually. It's on Twitter. Go and follow them over on there, man. Do you play Echo VR at all?
no, not really.
Have you ever played it?
Yeah, I played it. It was cool. Just wasn't addicting for me. But I can say it's definitely a good game.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I like playing it when hardly anyone in there is a pro. Like we was talking about earlier, there are some people in there again that
Yeah.
just want to. They could just. There was a guy in there yesterday, and dude, like, I don't get motion sickness, but he was managing to like do full barrel rolls, and like in my mind, I'm like, dude, if I was trying to do that stuff in VR, I think I'd fall over. I think I would just fall flat on my face eventually. So yeah. Anyway, so talking about Echo VR, the little video that's playing in the background, they released a season pass. The Echo Pass features a reward track available to all players that can be converted to a premium pass for additional rewards. The premium pass costs roughly $10, or 1,000 in-game Echo points. I did buy it because I just wanted to try it and check it out and see what was going on. And I think it was £8 in my money, which must be $10. So all the rewards relate to customization and do not offer any in-game advantage. They are very cool. Like if you're a fan of Echo VR, just take a look at them. There is some really, really cool things there. And it's like kind of like if you ever play Call of Duty or anything, you get a ladder of unlocks, but then when you get a season pass, you get an additional set of unlocks. And there's loads of different stuff in there. The rewards include new avatar options, boosters, braces, medals, emotes, emblems, banners, tints. I had to carefully read that. Patterns, tags, and titles. So yeah, that is I thought that was pretty cool that they're doing that. Do you play Population 1?
I used to. I don't really play it much anymore.
Why? What happened?
Well,
I played it with you. You played it with me. We played it
I
together.
played with you. That was probably like one of the last few times I played it, to be honest.
Right.
I don't know. I stopped getting into it. It was, to be honest, I don't really get into VR shooters that much. Like it's just, if it's a multiplayer shooter, I'd just kind of get bored of it, which is probably surprising. But
It is
yeah,
surprising when you're a competitive player, like, or you have that nature of a.
yeah, I think usually I'm not though. That's the thing. So when games like that come out, I'll play them for a little bit, and I like the game when it before it came out. I was testing it, and then I was a little annoyed when they did some weird stuff, talking about like the stuff you can buy for your character and stuff in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just got bored of it, I guess.
Yeah, it's fair enough, mate. It's fair enough. Yeah, so I think like Lonely Viper, he goes through stages. I think he just played it so much, and then he was like, "I'm done with it now. I need to move on, and play something else."
Yeah.
But then now and again, I get him involved, and he plays it again, and he's like, and he has such a great time. It's such a rush. What about if I said, "Dude, there's 10 grand and a flight to China"? Would you then get involved and compete?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's good. That's good. Also, Beat Saber released an update, version 1.13.4, adding new modifiers, some other small tweaks. Beat Games also confirmed that the multiplayer is still delayed, but the team continues to work on it for PSVR. Beat Saber, dude. Talk to me about Beat Saber. Do you play Beat Saber? Are you any good at Beat Saber?
I am not good at Beat Saber. I like the game. I love the mods a lot. But when I see a lot of my friends who are like so addicted to that game, I almost feel like I'm like one of the weird ones out because some people Beat Saber is their life. But yeah, I like it once in a while. There's so many new rhythm VR games coming out. And a lot of them are like really, really cool. So like I can't get stuck on this Beat Saber, for example. I want to like try multiple ones.
I think one of my favorite is actually, or the favorite out of them all, is Synth Riders. I love Synth Riders. I always tell people I love Synth Riders. Let's jump into the chat anyway. Let's have a look at some people in the chat. I know there are a load of OG quests out there, but I want some Quest 2 only games. Yeah, so they said they weren't going to do that. And then we was talking about, or I've done a video on Rec Room and Rec Royale. And it only really occurred to me when Nathy said it. He was like, that is a Quest 2 only game. You can't play it on the Quest 1. You can only access Rec Royale on Quest 2. And I was like, oh shit, dude. Yeah, and I'm sure when they announced all this stuff, it was a no-no. It was a massive no-no, actually. I think they were like, no, all the games is never going to be Quest 2 only stuff, content and games. So but yeah, that's interesting.
I feel
Adrian,
like
mate,
that's kind of hard to do right now. Quest 2 only without Quest 1. I feel like that's still too early for anyone to really do, unless they're like a free game.
I
So,
haven't got the stats of I did the other week. I haven't got them now of Quest 2 owners in PCVR. So the Quest 2 is the most popular PCVR headset on Steam.
yeah.
Um,
I just think until Facebook stops selling the Quest 1, which they're now selling them like refurbished or something, I
Yeah,
doubt we're
very
going to see that
expensively.
much.
Very expensive. I thought it was quite
Yeah.
expensive for a refurbished headset.
What is it, like 200?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember, some people bought the Oculus Go for 200, so.
I never had a Go.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
You all right, Matt?
Right.
I have a water leak I have to go fix.
Oh man, no
shoot.
worries. Yeah, no worries, dude.
So I apologize, but I have to go fix a water leak that was pouring all over the place.
That's all good, man.
Oh,
All right,
dang.
no worries.
All right, thank you. Sorry.
See you later, man. Bye bye. So yeah, floor plan. Let's take a quick look. Where are my notes? Turbo Buttons Floor Plan 2 is coming to Oculus Quest and PSVR platforms April 1st. Floor Plan 2 builds on the VR puzzling of the original, in which players move between different floors of a building remaining inside an elevator. Each floor featured a unique environment with their own puzzles to solve, often by obtaining items from or interacting with other floors. The developer is promising a much bigger experience for Floor Plan 2, estimating a runtime of around 4 to 5 hours. As yeah, the original was, I think, as they said here, an hour. But yeah, it kind of felt a short game to me. The trailer shows interaction involving lighting bonfires, messing with computer panels, and it looks like players will be able to lengthen their arms to carry out certain tasks. It's going to be $25. At 4 to 5 hours, not too bad, not too bad. The game launches on Quest Rift and Steam VR at the beginning of April, and they've also said PSVR is coming later down the line, which I keep seeing. I keep seeing more and more times that the PSVR is the later edition. So yeah, let's take a quick look at this trailer. So yeah, there was a Floor Plan 2. Bradley, I don't know if you've seen that before. I don't know if you've seen that game before.
I watched the trailer for the first game, which was funny because it reminded me of an old map in Gary's mod way back in the day, where you would just sit in the elevator and go to a bunch of different floors. But looks like from the new game, it looks a lot more than just an elevator.
Yeah. That's it. Like the old one was literally a puzzle elevator game, and now it's obviously come on a hell of a lot more. Last week, I think it's ZeniMax announced that Star Wars Pinball was coming, and a lot of people would probably say, "What's the point of pinball in VR? What does it bring? You know, what does doing pinball in VR bring? Have you tried pinball in VR?"
Yes, I have years ago. Was the last time, and it was cool because they had some I think they had like a Back to the Future pinball machine you can have in your virtual room and stuff.
That's it, man.
Super cool.
I thought it was really cool. It's really cool. And obviously, when you see this trailer going on, and anyone who's a Star Wars fan, which most people like Star Wars, this is coming out on, I think it's coming out on April 29th, which is the day before my birthday. So that's pretty cool. It's coming to Quest, PSVR, and PCVR via Steam. It'll have 8 different tables, which is quite a lot. I was expecting like 4, but they're going to do 8, spanning several iconic entries into the franchise films and TV shows. This includes 2 brand new, never before released tables, The Mandalorian and the Star Wars Classic Collectibles. These new tables will be joined by tables based on each film in the original trilogy of films: Rogue One table, Star Wars Rebels table, Masters of the Force table. Do you think you're going to see a Jar Jar Binks? And no one likes Jar Jar Binks, do they? Everyone I talk to fucking hates Jar Jar Binks.
Someone will mod it in anyway.
Well, yeah. I don't know what he says.
It'll be the first VR virus. Everyone that buys this game, they're just gonna have only Jar Jar Binks arcade cabinets inside their world.
Oh, you absolutely know it, man. You absolutely know it. Wolf Raza, he says he's taking a break at the moment, playing Aspire. Yeah, Aspire was a good game. I never got to finish it though. Like, I think I covered it in the beginning, then I covered another version of it. I don't really have time to get to finish it. I might have to jump back into Aspire 1. Did you play Aspire 1?
I think I did. Was that like maybe 2 years ago? It came out for PC.
It was ages ago. It was a while ago. Yeah, 2019 it would have been.
Yeah, I did play it. I thought it was really cool. People didn't like it much. I know they updated a ton of PCs. So if did it come out on other platforms? Is that what's going on?
What's that? Sorry.
Did it come out for other platforms? Is that
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happened?
it came out on other platforms, man. Yeah.
Oh, so basically all the PC users beta tested it for 2 years until they got the mechanics right. And yeah, no, I thought it was cool. I thought the whole storyline going on was really neat.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
trying to do some really cool stuff in there. It didn't, to be fair, like it didn't work quite as well as I thought it was going to. In some ways, as I played the game through, but it was pretty sick. So yeah, I'm glad people are thinking Star Wars looks sick. I think it looks really good. I can't wait to jump back in to get some pinball done. Other than that, I do apologize about Zenith. I can't really talk about Zenith this show, even though we're really, really excited about it, because Matt had all the information for Zenith. I basically, sometimes I just say to him, look, do you mind collecting some stuff for me, some information? And he says yes. And he's now at a Water League, so we can't talk about Zenith, but we can talk about Phasmophobia. And sadly, it's Bradley apparently loves Phasmophobia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I have
man.
at least 60 hours logged in it from.
Shit.
I mean, I got really into it for a couple months. And I know
In VR though, in VR I take it.
I'll only be. I can't play. It's so boring to play it out of VR at this point. You know, like yeah, I love the VR. Even though like the VR implementation's like really just bare bones. I can't play the game without being in VR. It's just like it's like losing a leg. I feel like it's crazy.
I've never played it flat. I've seen YouTubers play it flat. My son knows about Phasmophobia, but yeah, I've never played it without virtuality, and I find that about a lot of games. If Resident Evil 7, for example, dude, I don't know how anyone plays that flat. I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it looks sharper, obviously, like the resolution on your TV and stuff. But apart from that, like, resolution's one thing, but immersion is another. You know, you're either in the game or you're watching the game, and that's kind of how it feels to me. It's like night and day in Resident Evil 7. But yeah, Phasmophobia update that went live over the weekend ramps up ghost difficulty, letting them open doors and follow voices when hunting. So Bradley was telling me before the show that his friends didn't want him to keep shouting, and they were wrong.
Yeah. I mean, the whole community. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people that played Phasmophobia for a while, they all probably know this, but there was a lot of misinformation being spread that when the ghost was hunting, if you talk or make any noises during the hunt, the ghost would come to you. But that ended up being just like we haven't really had this in a while, actually. I remember like back before the internet, like you would constantly have like hearsay from your friends and stuff about like mechanics or cheat codes. This is kind of like that, except it's just like the ghost was never listening for you when hunting. It was just kind of randomly going in different areas. But now it's like a real thing. But I was yelling at my friends because they always yelled at me when I'm like kind of making jokes when the ghost is hunting. They're like, Brad, shut up, you idiot. What are you doing?
But they're scared, man. You got to realize, like, that game is terrifying. If you were messing around, even though it doesn't matter, I'd be like, shut up. Just don't. It's too much. That game is fucking terrifying. Like,
it is, but
it's.
I mean, it was just so fun because, I don't know, the social aspect of the game. You kind of put yourself in the manner that someone can screw you. Like it's like if you went to a haunted house with a group of friends, like, you know, some people might screw you over when they do they might light a candle or something, and that just is enough to make the whole house like come down, turn into a monster house, eat you. Who knows?
Zero Culture said, before the internet, how old is this dude?
I am 26, so there was a point where I didn't have internet, or a lot of people didn't have internet.
26. I do actually I do remember life before internet. Yeah, I do.
I mean, internet was, even though it was around when I was a kid and in middle school, not, I mean, not, it wasn't like now where everyone has it. It was just like, you know.
Dude, I remember the first mobile phone I ever had. You know what I mean? Like, I think my mobile phone bill, obviously mobile phones were very expensive back in the day. Like, you had to earn a lot of money. And my monthly phone bill was around £250.
Wow.
Like, that's crazy. It must have been like £1 a minute or something to phone people. Or I don't know, you know, I don't know. I just remember it costing a hell of a lot of money. And it was like a lot of my wages when I was younger goes for phone. But then to be fair, I wasn't really paying for anything else. I was just hanging around with my friends and phoning them up. I don't know. It just seemed like the thing to do. So, yeah, let's talk about. So, someone said, "Is it Zenith?" But I'm reading this, and it says to me, Zenith. That Zenith? Yeah, that looks like Zenith to me. Zenith. So yeah, it's a thrilling anime and JRPG inspired VR MMO coming to, well, basically all the major platforms by the looks of it. And I want to watch this trailer because I haven't seen this trailer. And I did have it scheduled the other week and I haven't, but let's dive into the trailer.
To a worse fate than our ancestors? I remember learning about the corruption from long ago. A darkness that enveloped the land and created the fracture. We believed that our world had fallen. But we rose above it. Stepped forward to save us from ruin. Their courage made us whole again. We live in an era of peace, but it is coming to an end. The corruption is back, and it is even stronger than before. This time, we are far outnumbered. Will you break us free from this fate?
Sorry about that. There was a little transition there where it was still going. So yeah, indie team Ramen VR held a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign for its MMORPG Zenith back in 2019, and they successfully raised $280,000. It's crazy. Last week saw the studio release new screenshots, a trailer, as well as confirmed PlayStation VR support, which is pretty cool. And now there is 3 tiers of pre-orders. You can get the standard game, which is $30, base game, digital main theme song. The deluxe, which is $40, base game, digital theme, access to the early bird alpha and beta. And then you got the collector's edition. I mean, a collector's edition of a game that is unreleased is, and I don't think there's been a Zenith before, so obviously there's a lot riding on this game. It's a base game, digital main theme song, access to the early bird alpha, access to the second alpha. You get a lot of stuff, and you get an exclusive pet from the game, and it kind of looks like a dog with magical powers because he's holding a wooden staff. But yeah, so that's all.
I'm sorry. Does it say when that early bird alpha is, or?
I can't see a date currently.
If not, don't worry about it. I was just curious.
No, I'd like to know. If it says aside from the goodies, the main difference in Zenith pre-orders in price structure Yeah, it gives you early access. If you're in the
They
first
might not even know yet.
if you're in the first 1,000, then you can play the early bird alpha just like Kickstarter backers. Okay. So yeah, if you join their Discord, and they're on Twitter, these guys, you can access some extra stuff to have a look at. Zenith promises a big open world set in a fantasy realm inspired by anime JRPGs. It's World of Warcraft and Ultima Online is kind of what they're it's all based on. So yeah, it's coming to everything: Quest, Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, Valve Index, Windows Virtual Reality headsets, and PlayStation VR. So yeah, probably one to watch. I know a lot of people want a game like that for a very long time. They've been wanting a game like that. Did you ever play Orbis VR? That's kind of one of those games I get asked to play, but I never ever get around to checking out again.
It couldn't keep my attention longer than an hour, so.
That's what it's all about. Mepa, sorry. They are building their system on top of Spatial OS, which is supposed to give the huge scaling and no loading screens. Nice. Okay, Alpha 1 is April 19th to the 26th. Thank you ever so much, Oni K's. Excellent. Thank you ever so much. Cool. Thanks for the info there, man. Artful. Again, what is with this art style, the graphic style? Why can't we have graphics like Asgard's in a single game? The thing is, I think Asgard's by Sanzaru probably had Oculus funding. And that's probably the reason it looked the way it did. It's because of the money involved, you know.
Have you ever played the game? Oh my God, what is it called? Look up the name real quick. It starts with a T. Township Tale.
I haven't played Township Tale.
Dude, I would check that out. This game's been like an open alpha for years, and it's slightly MMO. Their servers are not very good a lot of time. Okay, I say MMO very lightly, but has very MMO-y elements, and it's got some really cool stuff. Like you can just cut down trees with an axe and like cut the wood. Like it's crazy. I definitely recommend checking it out.
Have you played outside of VR? Do you still play games outside of VR?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Some people don't. Some people are like, it's VR or nothing, baby. You know, in my mind, like gaming was the reason I got into VR gaming, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild. Have you played Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I love that game.
It's fucking superb, mate. Absolutely
Yeah,
superb.
so
And I
good.
saw on your channel as well, you jumped into the VR chat and done that was, mate, my emotions ran
so
so high when I got in there. I was like, oh my God, the only thing is, obviously, you wander around 5 minutes and you realize it's not the game. Like, it's not the game.
Yeah.
It just looks like you're in the game.
Yeah, people were complaining that there was like no enemies or anything out, and I was like, dude, I spent 2 hours in this world. I didn't care if there was enemies or nothing. It was just so beautiful being able to like explore it and interact with a few things. I loved it.
Same. It's just amazing to be able to dip inside a game, go inside a game. I'm still waiting for someone to just do GoldenEye on the N64. It's shit graphics. Like, it can just look exactly as bad as it did. Just to see it in VR would be phenomenal. But I think you got those levels are in Half Life as well. Half Life Alyx, some of the GoldenEye levels, and they're really good.
Yeah.
They look great. G4LE says Breath of the Wild is my favorite game ever made. That's pretty sweet, man. It's pretty sweet. Excellent. If anyone's got any questions, let me know now, because we're gonna run out of time for the show soon. But thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate it. Chris Stacey says he's in his 40s, and that's still young. Nice. Yeah, Guardians. I will be jumping back into Guardians at some point, just as development progresses. There's a lot of new stuff happening. Friday, as I said, I'm hoping to do a Phasmophobia stream Friday night. That's the plan. I'm going to invite Bradley. I'm going to invite VR Oasis. I'm going to invite Viper. And I, of course, will invite BMF, but I reckon he'll blame the water leak. I reckon suddenly he'll go, hey, GT, the water leak started again. I'm like, oh, mate, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Reflecto Miss says, what was the worst VR game Bradley has played? I bet he's played some bad. I know I've played some terrible games.
Dude. Oh, God, dude. I think my brain tries to not remember those things. But oh my god, what was the worst one?
Do you remember Rage Room?
No,
That's good.
I don't think.
It's a good thing not to remember. Fucking trash.
Dude, I wish I could answer their question, but I've played so much. Maybe there's just one game. Literally, it's like poop or something. It's just all poop. I have it in my Steam library. Hold on.
What the fuck?
Hold on. Let me look it up.
That game made of poop. Oh man. Zero
Oh yeah,
says,
pipe job. Yeah, pipe job. It's all about toilets and poop. Yeah, there you go.
that's the worst game you ever played.
It's probably one of the worst.
I won't lie, I'm intrigued. I don't know why.
It's very good YouTube content bait, honestly.
Oh, okay, no worries, man. Yeah, I get it. It's like Blades of Sorcery. I like the game, but I just cannot be asked it. Like once I played it, I just don't want to play it anymore. A little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And I see all these people making like, I take me hat off to them, man. How they can make so many videos on the same game is fucking unreal. Because like,
Dude,
I can't do
that's
it.
so relatable. Oh my god, dude. My most popular videos on my channel are just me playing the job simulator videos, and people are always begging me to play those again. I'm like, dude, I already did them. So many, like, please stop asking me. I'm done.
Mate. Oh dear. Zero Cool says he's just started Phantom Covert Ops. Nice. What an amazing game. I love that game. Did you play that game with the kayak?
No, I don't think so.
It's like
No.
Metal Gear Solid in a kayak.
What?
Yeah, man. Don't tell me you haven't played
Wait,
that.
what's it called? What is it called? Wait.
Phantom Covert Ops. It's a big game. Big release by Endreams. It's got the guy from Metal Gear Solid's voice in it.
What? Yeah, I haven't played this yet.
He's been in that. I reckon this come out when he was in Half Life Alyx. Just like,
Oh yeah, June 25th, dude. I was not in the world at that point.
mate, you need to check that out. It's really good.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
I love it. I think it's great. And you can even like, they even got the kayaking down. I was talking to them and they were like, yeah, you can like push off the rocks and all that stuff. It's good. It's really good. I think, you know, if you like that sort of thing, you know, if you're interested in that sort of game, but it's all solo campaign. Boy Brown,
Okay.
do you think Valve will bring out any official add-on content for Alyx? What do you think? I would say no, because of the mod community is there to do it for them.
Yeah, I don't feel they'll do that personally, but
Yeah. There's supposed to be a free game coming called Quest Journey or something like that. Have you heard of it? Personally, no.
no.
I haven't heard of it. Artful says The Walking Dead Onslaught has to be up there. What were the worst games? Do you know what? No, I don't. I disagree with that. I've done a review, Bradley. I do reviews now and again, and sometimes they're not for good reason. They're because I want to basically tell people in the shortest amount of time not to spend their money on something, and which obviously doesn't go down very well sometimes.
Yep.
So yeah, the Walking Dead guys, Survios or Servios, depending on what you want to call them. I take it you've heard of them, obviously.
Oh yeah.
They made the Walking Dead their version. Obviously, you've got Saints and Sinners by Skydance, and then you've got the Walking Dead Onslaught. And it wasn't the worst game. It was the game that hurt me the most because of the hype around it and the fact I'd already played at Gamescom. And when you play a game really early, you forgive stuff. And also, it was on the premise that it was going to be a 4-player online co-op. And I thought this game is going to be absolutely brilliant. I cannot wait to dive in. And then they stripped back the 4-player. And then they got rid of the X-ray thing as well, which was in Gamescom. I'd have to probably have a look at my video to see it again. But as you stabbed them, you sort of saw the innards and stuff. It was very arcadey, but I don't mind that. I love arcade games.
Yeah.
So and yeah, you know, with the review when I played the game, it was pretty devastating, to be honest. And they're such nice people, you know.
Yeah.
They do great content, but
yeah, they've been doing VR games for a while, a lot of different ones.
I don't know what the hell happened to that. I mean, as far as I know, Onslaught is now a actual arcade game. It will be a VR arcade experience game. So yeah, so when you play Onslaught, you can see that. You can see that was the thing that they were going for more, you know. And obviously getting 4 people in 4 headsets to play local arcade multiplayer was probably like off the menu completely.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah.
And the worst part about that game is probably because it came after Saints and Sinners too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And that was the hard thing as well. And I think I even said it in my review. I was like, I can't not compare the two. I'm trying not to. I try my best to, but they're called the same game. It's a Walking Dead game.
yeah.
And it's just tough. It's just tough. So, Artful says Metal Gear Canoe. Yeah, Kayak Spy Game says a player. Yeah, he's going to check it out. Hopefully, Sadly Brain's going to check it out. Where are we now? Zero Call says he's put his first vid on YouTube. What is it of? What did you put a video of?
Welcome to hell.
Oh my god. What's the thing? Welcome to the party, pal? Oh dear. David Hayter, yeah, David Hayter. He does the voice for Snake. And yeah, he does the voice of the baddie in Phantom Cove Ops. After the fall, any news or insights? No. I think not last week, the week before. It might have been last week. No, the week before was like the hype show about PSVR 2 and stuff when they've done the announcements. We played the cinematic trailer then. Tam2 from Vertigo Games was in the chat, and he basically said he'd have more to share with us all soon. So yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But that's another one. That is the 4-player campaign game that we're after. That's the idea of that, you know. People are wanting Left 4 Dead, basically.
Yeah.
That's what they want. Yeah. So, onslaught of my happiness. Oh my god. So what got you into VR anyway? Like, what got you into like sitting on the other end of the screen on the PlayStation or whatever? Like, what was your console history? Because I love talking retro.
Yeah, I had N64 as my first console, and then went to Xbox and PS2.
Xbox Live. You done the Xbox Live thing, yeah? Obviously, you was at the beginning when it all happened.
Yes, I was very big on Halo 3, especially.
Oh,
most of my life in Halo 3, probably growing up.
I was Halo 2. More so. Like, the day Xbox Live comes to the UK, I was on that shit, and it felt like a whole different doorway of gaming for me.
Yeah,
it was insane. It was before trolls. Trolls weren't really trolling. Do you know what I mean? People were actually playing the game. It was really weird.
But what led me to finally in VR is for years I was after consoles. I went to mainly PC gaming. I got really big into Valve because they're like the PC people. A lot of people see them as. And when I had my eye on VR throughout the Oculus Kickstarter days, but I never spent money on it because I didn't. But as soon as Valve said that they were getting into VR, I was like, well, I'm a fanboy. That sounds awesome. And then I entered a contest to be able to visit the Valve or the Steam VR Developer Showcase, which was before the Vive, before the Oculus came out. They had 20 developers all showcase a bunch of tech demos and games for the Vive Pre, which was going to be the Vive Consumer. And the first game I ever tried in VR was Hover Junkers back then, and just like everyone else, they tried VR once, and I that was it. I knew I wanted to talk about this a lot.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. You want to talk about it, you want to share it, and that is it. If you don't get sick, it grabs you. I think if it makes you sick, it just changes everything. But yeah, if you don't get sick, it is such a life changer.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Arthur Fogel, Team 21, how you doing, man? Yeah, so we are wrapping up the show now. Get to the Chopper says he had the Atari, the Master System, the Mega Drive, the SNES, the Dreamcast, the Sega Saturn, the PlayStation 2, Xbox 360. Yeah, pretty much he had all of them. And I did as well. I've had pretty much every console apart from the NES. My old best friend had a NES and I had the Master System. And we would play Zelda with the map. And he had the gold cartridge. And that's how old I am. So yeah. No worries. Well, thank you to everyone dropping in today. I'm sorry the show was a bit all over the place. It's not usually like that. It's things were obviously going on in the background. And yeah, hopefully Matt has sorted out the water pipe issue, which would be quite cool. Oh, Chris Stacey, thank you, man. You become a member. Cheers, dude. Thank you ever so much for the support. So what are you doing with the rest of your day, Bradley? Because I think the time, you must be like 5 or 6 hours behind me.
Yeah, it's turning 5 p.m. I have no idea what I'll do. Probably take my dog to the dog park.
You've got a dog park?
Yeah, our neighborhood has like a dog park.
What does that entail? Well, I mean, obviously it sounds
It's
a
just
bit stupid.
it's just a big open area just for dogs to run around and play with each other, with other dogs in the neighborhood and stuff.
Wow, that's really cool.
Bunch of toys and stuff already there.
That's
I love
awesome.
it. It's great.
That is well good. Arthur Fogel, Virtual Boy for the window. Yeah, check it out. You can play Virtual Boy games on your Oculus Quest, and they're awesome. Like, they're really good. I did a video on it. It was absolutely fantastic. Completely loved it. So yeah, thank you ever so much for watching today, Bradley. Thank you ever so much for joining us on the show. I really appreciate it, and thank you for all your insight into what we all think is going to be happening with HTC. And I will see you all next week. Take care of yourselves. Thank you. Bye 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 bye.